Hey guys, what's going on? This is Fred2266 here, and today I'm going to be reading Chapter 4 of A Diamond in the Rough by Dark Shock Bro. It's been a little bit since I read a chapter. Um, Figured why not? Why not? I don't want to do Fastest Fall in Equestria every 3 chapters in a row, so I'm switching it up. So, here we go. After the creation of our... I guess I talk in Diamond TR's voice. Oh god. After the creation of our secret hoofshake, I discovered how it felt to be friends with someone, and it felt beautiful. I also thought maybe I could get more assertive in school and express myself in other ways aside from answering questions. Anyway, after a brisk walk, I opened the door to my mansion, only to find it was completely barren. I called for the butlers, but they were all gone too. It was scary, but I managed to calm down quickly and do the sensible thing. Call my dad. I got a signal. Dad, it's me, Diamond. Where the heck are you? Diamond Tiara? Didn't I tell you I had a very important business meeting today? No, but... I can't talk with you. I'll be home very late, so make sure you control yourself. Goodbye, Dick. And just like that, I lost him. A wave of loneliness swept over me. Then I realized I let it dominate me for my entire life. So I decided to combat the loneliness by reading one of the business books on my bookshelf. I knew my parents wanted me to go into business even before they got divorced, so I might as well discover why. Of course, it would have helped if I actually knew what any of the words back then meant. Stocks? Aggregation? Buying in bulk? They should have called it the gibberish book. Business was much more difficult than I thought. No wonder I live in one of the richest families in Ponyville. So after taking some time to do my small amount of homework and play my saxophone, I saw only one other thing I could do. I walked over to the dance studio, and fortunately, by the time I got back, it was my bedtime. Happy and content, I drifted off to sleep. The rest of kindergarten was relatively uneventful. My assertive lessons worked great for Silver Spoon. I managed to ace all my classes, and we graduated, feeling like Equestria was our oyster. You're gonna chuck it. Also, I should probably explain the education system here. There's only one elementary, middle, and high school in the entirety of Ponyville, and ponies are assigned to one teacher out of the 3 per grade, who teaches all of their subjects. Apparently, there would be times when ponies would switch teachers, but that never happened to me. Getting back to business, literally, I never really got the chance to ask Dad to go over my questions about the absurdly confusing books I read until the summer, since at that time, I wasn't busy with school. In fact, I was able to ask him earlier on than I thought. Dad, the books on my bookshelf are really confusing. Could you explain them? I asked. Which ones, Diamond? The ones about business. I couldn't even get past the first 10 pages without having my head blow up. He gave me a warm smile. I'd be more than happy to go over them with you, Diamond. We walked to my room. I pointed out the book that I read, and he meticulously went over them, but related the concepts to things I could understand. Heck, he even related stocks to the mood of pony. He would say, stocks are exactly like talking to ponies. If you talk to some pony in a good mood, their mood will get better, and so will yours. If you talk to some pony in a bad mood, both their and your moods will plummet. It was a great bonding experience, which was immediately followed by a loud knock on our door. I ran to the door, opened it, only to find my good mood accelerating. "Grandpa!" I said, leaping out to give him a hug. Stinking rich. Should I give it an old man voice? Diamond! It's so nice to see you! How has kindergarten been for my favorite daughter? It's been great, Grandpa. How have you been? Just fine. Those Zap apples are growing like crazy. Can't wait to sell 'em. I couldn't believe Stinking Rich, my great-grandfather, after the horrific divorce, was coming over just to say hello to us. I never knew my actual grandfather or grandmother, because I think they died from some disease before I was born. Well, my father's parents, at least. I also think my dad told me my mother's parents died in a big war. But I love Stinkin'. Diamond TR loves to stink. Probably even more than my dad, because he really treated me like I was special. I felt so glad that at least one pony could see what I saw. About a minute later, my dad saw him. It's so wonderful to see you. How have the Zap apples been? We've got a great idea of them. We got a great deal of them this year. How has Diamond been? You been treating her well? I'd say so. I just taught her some business lessons. That's great news. I know she's going to be a vital part in our business. Make sure you keep the lesson steady. Understood. Is this all the time you have? Fortunately, it is. I'm sorry I have to leave so soon. When I heard of the bad news, I said, "Do you really have to go, Grandpa?" "I wish I didn't, but Barnyard Bargains isn't going to run itself." "Bye, Grandpa. I'll miss you." "Aw, don't worry. I'll come back soon, okay?" he said, and after a quick peck on... Going back to my voice. He said that after a quick peck on my cheek, he closed the door. After my great-grandpa's visit, the summer seemed to go by a lot quicker, and I learned a lot about business from my dad. However, there was one particular point that he always seemed to focus on. That point was, "The number one rule in business is to not let your feelings influence your decisions in the slightest." I'm not saying that you should apply this rule to life, but you have to apply it to business if you want to succeed. When the summer ended, school was back in session. I told Silverspoon about some of the business skills I learned, but she didn't seem too interested in it. It didn't really faze me, though, since I was initially bored by it, too. We walked and talked about our summer together until we reached our first grade classroom. Our teacher was a former actor known as Miss Bright. Mrs. Bright, sorry. With a dull yellow body and a blonde mane. I liked her instantly. She was a very good teacher on normal subjects, but by far my favorite subject was drama. It was a little tough convincing Silverspoon to give drama a try, because she was still relatively shy, but I gave her pointers, and she managed to stick it through with me for the entire school year. One of my favorite parts about drama had to be the hand gestures she taught us. What should this voice be? "Now, class, when you have finished with your performance, there is a certain way to handle the applause the audience gives you. Follow me, please. First, you put your dominant hoof directly above your head, like this," she would say with enthusiasm. We mimicked her. "Good. Next, we make a downward half circle with that hoof, and bow, like this." All of a sudden, another student, a unicorn with a pale body and white and purple curls, raised her hoof. "I wonder who that could be. Twist, why you win Diamond Tiara's first grade class, you bitch." Aren't females supposed to curtsy?" she asked. "Where did you get that idea from?" "My sister Rarity told me." "I'm afraid that isn't how it works in drama. Now, class, please follow me." Again we followed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I've seen that unicorn before. We quickly finished, giving her the sign to continue. "Finally, you point your hoof at the other members who helped your play become successful. Hold one pony's right hand with your left, hold another pony's left hand with your right, and bow again. Try to do it more than once if the applause is loud enough. Now, then, let's practice. Ready, set, go!" With that signal, we practiced a few times until we were finally able to do it successfully. Through this drama class, I was able to realize I had natural stage presence, and I sought ways I could get on the actual school stage. Fortunately, I wasn't able to find a way before a tragedy swept over my life. I lost my bagel. Whatever. Towards the end of first grade, my dad said he was going to take me to Stinkin' Rich's place for a business event. However, when we got to his mansion, about the same size as ours, I saw him slumped on the ground. He wasn't moving, and he had no pulse. He was dead. I was very, very heartbroken, and I had to spend a week in my home recovering from the pure stress I experienced from that event, and at the funeral, which my dad insisted I come to. It was the first time I disagreed with one of his decisions. I couldn't believe the pony who I loved was dead, and I couldn't even talk to him after he left on that fateful day. But through it all, my dad comforted me, taught me, and allowed me to dance and play my saxophone before I was mentally able to go back to school. I told Silverspoon, "That's I cannot do Silverspoon's voice. "That's horrible, Diamond. I'm so sorry." "Is there anything I can do to help?" was her reaction. I did feel her sympathizing for me. "No, Spoon. I've recovered. I feel more determined than ever to learn about business and make him proud. I know that I'm special, and I'm going to prove it to him. Diamond, you just give off so much confidence. I'm really lucky to have a friend like you." I gave a sincere smile to Silverspoon that seemed to make the after effects of the tragedy float away. Next summer, after I aced all my classes in first grade, even receiving 100% in drama, I felt obligated to get on the stage. While Mrs. Rhythm and her dance classes really couldn't help me too much, Mr. Blues said that I had progressed far enough to participate in a recital. Once he told me a recital is where people get on stage to play the music they learned in their lessons. I got hooked. While my father was unable to make it, I practiced heavily for the big event, and managed to get a great applause for playing, which was for my skill level, a decently challenging song with only one minor mistake. My recital allowed me to go into second grade brimming with confidence, and a new desire to make my great-grandfather proud of me. Sadly, while I did like my teacher, Mrs. Stone, a rather elderly lady with a gray body and a white mane, the subjects began to increase in difficulty. However, by far, my least favorite subject was history. It was boring, stupid, and the worst part was, it was an absolute pain to prepare for the test. Early on in the year, I got a 70% on a history test. I got my first B ever during the first semester of history. Needless to say, I was crushed. Even Silverspoon seemed to be noticing the upward spiral of challenge, and barely managed to pass the first semester with all A's. To add, at the beginning of the second semester, Silverspoon brought up an interesting topic. "Hey, Diamond, have you noticed that most adult ponies have these weird marks on their flanks?" he asked. "Yes, I did. I think they're called cutie marks. Do you know anything about them?" "It looks like they help ponies perform cool stuff. Like I once saw a pony with a construction cutie mark who created the floor of a fairly large house in only one day." "Wow, that's awesome! I wonder if we can get them." "I'm sure we can. According to my mom, any pony can get a cutie mark, and it's something that is triggered by something we can do from our hearts." "That sounds awesome. Let's try to get our cutie marks soon." "All right. Bye, Diamond. Bump, bump, sugar lump, romp." I think I got her voice down. Even more than Diamond Tiara's. I hate Silverspoon. That's scary. Also, during that semester, the workload seemed to die down, and I was getting A's again. But even though my grades were good, I ran headfirst into a brick wall. Literally? Literally? An after-school problem that seemed to destroy the connection I have with my father. Okay. Not literal. Maybe literal. I'm not sure, really. That problem came in the form of bullies. Oh no. Here we go. Towards the middle of the second semester, an absurdly huge black pony with a checkered white and black mane, who I later found out was called Black Flag, creative, approached us as we were walking home from school. After closing some of the distance between us, he said to Spoon, this voice, "Hey, Four Eyes! Why don't you suck on your glasses just like it was your pacifier, you big baby?" "I not a baby." I had to protect my best friend, so I screamed, "Leave her alone." I can't scream. At least I'll make my parents mad. So, sorry. "Ooh, the prissy little pink pony's gonna stand up for a retard friend. Why don't I take you two down a notch?" Oh, this is horrible. He then proceeded to beat the living crap out of both me and Silverspoon. As he laughed at us, I felt an inner rage being channeled through me. I really didn't know what happened next, till I realized he was vomiting blood. After a minute, I put all the pieces together. You see, one of the things I like to do was to make me look pretty would be to file my hooves with a diamond filer. Once I realized that, I came to the conclusion that I had punched him hard. In a panic, I called the Ponyville Emergency Committee and told them about the incident. 5 minutes later, an ambulance took him to the hospital. I was almost afraid to check, but my right hoof did have blood on it. I wasn't looking forward to explaining this to Dad. Silverspoon probably thanked me, but I was too busy running home to wash my hooves before my dad could look at them. That didn't happen. Instead, my dad caught me. I explained to him the entire situation. Even after I claimed it was self-defense 3 times, his response was, "Diamond, you're grounded. For a week." "What? Why?" "Because you need to take this as a lesson to control your temper. You can't run a business if you don't have a cool head." "I did it in self-defense. Read my lips, Dad." "Diamond, my decision is final." "Fine, but during that week, don't expect me to talk to you." Sassy. I stomped up the stairs, shut and locked my door. I couldn't believe my own father disagreed with my assertive behavior. He disagreed with who I thought I was as a pony. Well, I intended to live my life as an assertive individual, and if it takes me protesting his actions to tell him that, so be it. Next chapter, Diamond goes through 1 week of silence at her home and tries to reconcile with her mother. Diamond and Silver also make efforts towards getting their cutie marks. Will she treat Diamond better than Diamond believes her father does? And who will get their cutie mark first? Find out next time on the Super Friends. Yeah, so for some reason I felt really obligated to read that chapter as slow as I could. Not really. I could read it much slower. Usually I like to kind of read words fast, but I don't know. I had a lot of voices to do, and I thought I'd mess up more. So I guess it's a pretty artificial chapter reading, I guess. You know, you know. I'll do one more. What story? I don't know. Won't be this one, though. Won't be a long one, either. I don't really have... Well, I have time. Again, one question in my survey is, how long do you want me How many times a week do you want me to upload these chapter readings? And, well, I don't mean to spoil anything, but so far the results go in the favor of We Don't Care. It's his channel. So, I can upload as much as I want. Some days I'll splurge, some days you won't see much from me. At least you're getting something, so get over yourself. Yeah, okay, bye.